Hello and good evening and welcome to episode 58 of the Grove podcast. My name is Tabs and today I'm joined by my new regular co-host, Ian. Ian, how are you? How was your weekend and how was the Christmas market that you were so looking forward to going to today?
Hi Tabs, great to be back on. I'm well, thank you. Yes, myself and the family went into a Christmas market in Dublin city centre today and froze the bejesus out of ourselves. But it was good fun. It was good fun, and back now to have a good chat about that unbelievable win yesterday. It brightened all our weekends up, I think.
It did indeed, and even though unfortunately, Liverpool, well, Man City are now doing Man City things like they are. Liverpool comfortable 2-0 win, and actually could have been more. But let's not let that get us down. Yeah. So today in today's show, we're gonna, in part one, we'll review that crazy game at the London Stadium against West Ham, and then we'll have a look in part two at the forthcoming Man United game, which takes place on Wednesday. So Ian, as we normally do in the format, what was your highlight and what was your low light of the West Ham game?
My highlight was the move for the second goal. It was a thing of beauty. It was absolutely gorgeous, and that Odegaard flicked ball again into Saka. We had that in the last game against Sporting, and it was just like it was a 13 pass move. I look back at it, and it was just a beautiful move. It was very Arsenal and Arteta-esque. That was my highlight. My low light was the awful decision for West Ham's free kick, their second goal, the Declan Rice tackle. That was an excellent tackle, and the referee saw it upon himself to give a free kick, which they scored for, and made the game at that point a little bit nervy. So yeah, they were my highlights and lowlights.
Well, it shows that great minds think alike, because I went exactly the same for my highlight, the second goal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pinpoint a particular moment of it, and it was something my son highlighted, was the control by Saka on his thigh to take that ball down, kill it, slide it across. I'm not going to pick another highlight that for me. So that particular moment of it, he said we watched it again and again and again, and he just said, look at that control. I said, yeah, I have to agree. So yeah, well done, boys. And my low light was the goal difference. I was thinking, oh great, 4-0. Let's rack up a few more. Let's get the goal difference in our favour. We need to sort of, if we're going to catch up with Liverpool, let's get goal difference and points. And I thought we were going there. So a bit of a low light was we still got +3, and nice to get +5 in the goal scored column. But I think it would be nicer to get more like the 5-6 goal difference in our favour. But again, we're picking here. These are small things, small picky things. So yeah, look, again, fantastic result, fantastic performance, and it all starts with the players on the pitch. And I think there were a couple of surprises. I think we were expecting to go strong to keep the momentum going, but there was no party because of a muscle injury, and Marino seemed to be suffering from a knee injury, and then there was MLS was also out, which also then meant the bench was looking a bit light. On the first two, I think they said that they weren't ready for the game, so possibly nothing major. But then we're starting to use the squad. We're leaning on the squad. We have a larger group of trusted players. We've raised the floor as well as the ceiling. So Jorginho starts again, and he was great. Trossard for Martinelli. Again, a bit of a surprise, but maybe saving Martinelli for the Man United game. So again, I think we're pretty strong side. Any thoughts on the lineup? Anything that you wanted to see, or were you pretty happy irrespective of a couple of the injuries?
Yeah, I think we were unlucky, obviously, with Partey and Marino getting those what seemed like last minute injuries, because there was no mention of them. Not that Arteta, shouts his injuries from the rooftop, as we all know. So yeah, considering those two injuries, I mean, I think the lineup was absolutely fine. Jorginho stepped in; he did a really good job. So there was no palpitation setting in at that point, and thankfully the team proved us right as well.
No, absolutely. So look, the result got us up into second. Now with Chelsea's result, I think I think someone's saying we're in second place on alphabetical order, and if we go above Chelsea on any way we go above them, I'm happy. So we played 13. We've got a goal difference of plus 12, 25 points. Still those 9 points behind Liverpool, but we've made up one goal in terms of the goal difference. But it's a start, and just we're going to chip away slowly. So yeah, so pretty good, pretty healthy, and now we're like 2 points above City, and we've got a +9 over City in terms of goal difference. So we will take that all day long, all day long. For me, what's interesting about this game, it's easy to forget how dominant and how so good we were for those first 36 minutes before that crazy last 15 of the first half, and then pretty much a stalemate in the second. And what I found odd is that if we were 3-0 up at half time or 3-0 up throughout the second half, it would feel so much more comfortable than 5-2. 5-2, I think, engenders a sense of chaos, a sense of anything can happen. Whereas 3-0 is comfort, it's control, it's cruisy. And there was one stat that came up before I come back to you, Ian, in terms of your thoughts on the overall game. One stat that came up on the screen was in 36 minutes, Arsenal had 8 shots, 5 of which on target, 15 touches in the other opposition box, and we had 75% possession. West Ham had 0. Now, they had 25% possession, but they had no shots, nothing on target, no touches in the opponent's box. They couldn't even get out their own half, let alone into the final third. So we were just dominant, dominant, dominant. What was your overall feeling and overall impression of the game? We'll get to the individual goals and we'll get to certain moments, but from an overall impression, what was your thinking? How were you reacting? How did you feel?
Yeah, I agree with you in that when you get to 4-0 and your mind starts wandering, you're thinking, my God, are we going to break Premier League records here? It was very reminiscent of last season's performance there as well. So it got to the point where we went 4-0 and I was thinking, go and absolutely kill them. And there's nothing nice about conceding a goal, obviously, even regardless of how far ahead in the game, it's just not a good thing to concede a goal, and then that gives them a tiny little glimmer of hope. So it was just a case of, yeah, as you say, goal difference. It would have been nice to have got even into half time at 4-0, maybe gone on and gotten a fifth and a sixth. We all know that when you have a crazy first half or a very dominant first half, it very rarely continues in the second half. But yeah, it would have been nice for goal difference and for a clean sheet for David Raya. He hasn't had a huge amount of them this season. It would have been nice to continue, just scoring goals and not conceding. But look, that's a small price to pay.
No, indeed, and it was Saka and Odegaard running the show again. I mean, just so good down the right hand side. Again, we talked about it against Sporting. We talked about it against Forest. The combinations and the interplay and the intricacy and just the one touch, two touch, just someone being offering all the time. And then now Timber being part of that triangle, part of that triumvirate down the right hand side. It's like, just because you know it's coming doesn't mean you can stop it. And it's a real joy to watch. And look, it's a week. It's really weird. Everyone's saying, oh, we're in form, we're firing and all the rest of it. It's only been a week, but it just feels like, 3 games that, 270 minutes of just pure dominance and pure beautiful play. But even though it feels like we're very right-hand side biased, actually it was quite even. Even the left side were getting a bit more. I mean, the goal coming from the left in terms of Trossard coming in off the left to score. Our fourth goal again from the left-hand side into the middle. I think it was there was a statistic in the first half. It was like 37% left-hand side, 45% right-hand side. So actually, even though it feels like it's quite dominant and that's where the majority of our players, I think it's just the style of player there makes it look a lot more heavy. But actually, I think we were mixing up a bit more. And what I also really liked was that all the goals, apart from 2 penalties, were all very different. And again, like Sporting, 5 different scorers, which is so pleasing and is just such a Arteta hallmark. Just the different ways of scoring. A header, a beautiful intricate move. A nice ball over the top middle. Clinical penalties. And everyone's getting in, so we're not reliant on one player. Look what happens to someone like City. Haaland is, since that comment that we all talk about and all joke about. What's he doing? And once he goes dry. Yeah, there are other problems with City, but City go dry. I think Liverpool are showing it that they can share out the goals. You got Gakpo scoring, you got Diaz scoring, you got Salah scoring and stuff like that. So you have your key players, but you spread it out. You don't have those single points of failure from a scoring perspective. And if one person's dry, another one steps up. So I think that's fantastic. So look, there's huge amounts to talk about in this game. So if we look at the first half. Look at that first half. I mean, 67% possession overall. We had an XG of 3.27 to West Ham's 0.7. How did they get 2 goals from that? Again, we had 10 shots, 6 on target, 5 big chances. And we took 4 of them. So, we were just dominant, and very easy. And it was very easy on the eye. So Ian, take us through like the first couple of goals. So on 10 minutes, Big G comes up with the opener.
Yes, and the Arsenal corners are not becoming. They have been things of beauties for so long now. I was reading a funny comment on X earlier on. Somebody had a picture of Saka taking the corner, and the caption was, "This is Arsenal's new penalty spot," and it made me giggle. It was. Like you mentioned to me, you were texting me earlier on about the goal and Timber's involvement in it, and I went back and I looked at it because I'd noticed something else. I was looking at how the boys were all talking about each other at the back, or to each other at the back post, and I watched. If you watch that corner, just watch it over and over again, but pick a different Arsenal player and watch what they do. They all have a very specific job. Like you were right with Timber. He ran right across the box and kind of bumped into the first defender who was there to nod the ball away, and he kind of put him off, and you can see him complaining to the referee. Then you look at Calafiori. He becomes a wall in front of Gabriel. Gabriel nearly uses him so that Antonio can't get to him, and he flicks the ball in. Even Trossard runs into the middle to cause a bit of chaos. It was we look at these as just a ball being swung in, and hopefully somebody gets their head on it, but there's so much more to them than that. And the second goal was just, as I said earlier on, it was a 13 pass move, a little 1-2 at the edge of the box between Saka and Odegaard, who flicks it over, does what he does. And Saka, maybe a couple of years ago he might have tried to have a go himself, but he was unselfish and he just laid it off to Trossard on that left hand side for another tap in, his second tap in 2 games for Trossard. And you're right, just saying, going back to what you were saying earlier on about us spreading the goals. It's so important to do that. We don't want to have to rely on one person, as you say. And look, you and I spoke on recent pods about who's going to be the big striker, and we do need one, but we shouldn't, when that person comes in, rely on them just to be just banging in goals like Erling Haaland. Yeah, they were 2 great goals, the first 2.
No, indeed, and on that first one, firstly, like that's, I think you mentioned it. That's Gabriel now equalled the record with Per Mertesacker in terms of scoring 9 headers in a row, which is fantastic. And those are so important to us. Those goals, they make such a difference. A lot of the time, it's to get us 1-0 up, and it's that first goal that's always so important to the team. But and actually, you could see before the corner was taken, I think Timber was chatting with a couple of people. They were all chatting to each other, and Timber said after the game, he asked about, well, what were you talking about? And he goes, well, I can't tell you, but it felt a little bit like an assist, to be fair. I helped him a bit, but it was good execution. It's not the first time this season or last season we scored a lot of nice goals from set pieces. So and it was an important part to it. They all play their part. They won't be able to do it too often because refs will pick up on it. And another time the ref will give a foul for what he did. But good luck to him on that. And we got the 1 goal, and I was saying to myself, right, let's get another. Let's kill the game. Let's build on this. And you're right, we got the second from Trossard, and then it was 3-0. Odegaard from the spot. I mean, again, right, nice play down the right. Saka dribbles into the box and just gets it's a foul and it's a nailed on pen. Um, and actually, really nice of Saka to give it to Odegaard. I think they talked about it, and Saka said, "Oh, he's given me plenty of assists, so I was happy to give him the chance." And it's weird. That's his first goal of the season. I think that's his first goal of the season, and he dispatched it clinically into Fabianski's left. I mean, Fabianski went the right way, but he was never getting anywhere near that. And Odegaard's got a fantastic record of penalties. I think all in all, he's taken 8 pens in his professional career, and he's scored 8 goals. And so, isn't it great that we if Odegaard and Saka as two fantastic penalty takers? So 3-0, and that was after 33, 34 minutes, and it was plain sailing. We were having a lot of time, and then take us through the fourth goal for Havertz.
Yeah, the fourth goal was great. Jorginho broke down play. Him playing as number 6, obviously, he broke down the play, and he just played a quick pass into Odegaard, who knocked it to Trossard, and then played that wonderful ball over the top to Havertz. It's strange when Havertz is clean through on goal. I'm not 100% confident because he tends to try to do this little dink or try to do something fancy, and he inevitably makes a mess of it. But this one, no, side footed, as you should do, around the goalkeeper, low and hard, and the goalkeeper has no hope. It was brilliant. And just on the third goal, that was our first penalty of the season as well, which is very strange. And
Wow.
there was only 1 minute and 16 seconds in between the two goals from the exact second, and yeah, we were at that point. We are absolutely flying. It was wonderful.
No, indeed, and yeah, on the Havertz goal, I love watching it with my son and then pointing things out to him because he plays centre forward, and so I always try and point out these little things. And the Havertz finish, he said, "Oh, it was a bit close to Fabianski." Actually, the hardest place for a goalkeeper to get the ball is low towards their feet. Now, if they can't move their feet quick enough, they can't get their hands down quick enough. Whereas if you play it wider, then they can dive and all the rest of it. So actually, I said to him, that was a superb finish because it's just so hard for the keeper to get. If you go low and hard near their feet, you'll often think, oh, that's a bit close. But actually, I think that's what they're taught to do, and I sort of keep telling them that, and then he scored two goals today. So there you go. So yeah, no, I really enjoyed that goal, and actually Havertz. There was throughout the game I was watching the amount of times defenders were just clearing it from Havertz's head, and he would have had 3 headers and he would have scored. So he was due a goal in this game, and even though it wouldn't have been obvious, there were just so many times that the West Ham defenders were clearing it just before he was going to get to it, and so it was nice to see Kilman defend poorly for this. He shouldn't have gone down to ground. He should have done better, but who cares? Havertz was clean through 4-0, and we were having a great time. And then I texted the guys from the Dad's Our Job podcast because they were doing a sort of a sort of like a live commentary on the game, and I said, this is pure Sunday League, let alone Barclays. So this was just what happened in the next 10 minutes was just ridiculous, and 4-1. Now it was a fine finish, I think, and a fine pass. Basaka ran off the back of Trossard, a great pass, slide rule, whatever you want to call it, and he finished it really, really well. Now the debate is, do you blame Raya because it was on his near post? I mean, what do you think? Do you think Raya should have done better, or
Yeah,
it was a good finish?
it was a good finish and it was a good move. It was a great ball. You can point a little finger at Raya and saying, you shouldn't be beating it at your near post. But when the pace on the ball for Wan-Bissaka was perfect, and he was able to get a lot of power on it. And it's very, very hard to save those, even if they are at your near post. I'd probably put 10% blame or something like that on Raya. You can't really go too hard on him. More of an issue was Calafiori and Trossard kind of just leaving them go off the back. The pass was excellent. Kind of Calafiori left Trossard to look after him, but that's not exactly his job. So yeah, it wasn't great because we were on an absolute high. We were thinking 10-0, but the flying the ointment happened, and the second goal we'll talk about was an absolute joke for me. Well, the giving of the free kick, but I'll let you talk about that.
No, indeed. Just on the rare point, I just happened to catch the goals from the Newcastle game, and Basaka scored the first goal there from practically the same position. Now he went far post that time, so maybe Rea obviously would have done his homework. He would have watched West Ham's previous game. So maybe in Rea's mind was, oh, he's going to go far post. So there was a lot of goal they had to protect. I mean, it's the same size every week, but just from that angle. So I'm not putting any blame on Rea for that goal, and I think it's more to do with the pass and the finish than anything that we could have done. I think the only thing, I think you're right. I think more critical around Calafiori and Trossard letting the man run through, but these things happen. And then a great free kick. There's nothing we can do about it. He killed it fantastically over like our three tallest players. You know, everyone loves a ball coming off the crossbar or off the post when it goes in. So aesthetically, a beautiful goal. And Raya with no chance, and you just all credit to Emerson for scoring, but yeah, it should never have been a free kick. But we were absolutely battering them, and then somehow it's 4-2 from when we scored in the 36th minute to the 40th minute, 4-0 to 4-2, and again it seems to be the way this season. Maximum punishment from very little, from West Ham threat, but they get two goals, and the stat said they had four shots in between us scoring our fourth and their second goal, but I think one of those was a speculative block, so nothing creative, and I don't even remember the other one. So we just, again, maximum punishment, but luckily we had a 4-goal buffer to deal with, which we then made 4 goal, then it came to 2, and then we sort of secured the game, and then we took the sting out with the Saka penalty. Now another corner, I think our 6th of the game. Gabriel goes up and gets punched in the face by Fabianski. And for some reason Taylor took an age to give it, and some were saying that he only gave it because of the reaction of the players. Well, that was what Jamie Redknapp said, but then again, I don't take what he says with much credit. So it's for me, it's a nailed on pen, and I'll come into that in a second. I wasn't 100% confident with Saka. I don't know why. I wasn't, and it wasn't his best penalty. I mean, any penalty that goes in is a good penalty, but yeah, and maybe it was too hard, too powerful. Fabianski got a hand to it, but he punched it into the side netting. So there we go. But on that, and I'll be interested to get your thoughts. Is like, Redknapp said on Sky, "Oh, I'm not sure if it should be a penalty. He didn't like it." But I'm sorry, if you punch someone in the face in the penalty area, it's a free kick. And I put it akin to, if a player goes for the ball and misses the ball but takes out the player, that's a free kick. So why is it any different with the goalkeeper's hands versus a player on his feet? So for me, it's a stonewall penalty. It's a penalty all day, and it's similar to the incident Marino versus Inter when he never got the penalty when he should have done. So I know I'm hoping you agree with me in this one. I think you might, but in these incidents, if it was Raya doing that against a West Ham player, would you be aggrieved that was given as a penalty?
Yeah, it has to be. If a mistimed tackle is a foul, a mistimed punch to the face or a punch. Obviously, he was trying to get the ball, but if he mistimes it and punches a player in the face, it's a penalty. It just is, and it should have been against Inter as well. Or it should have been definitely a penalty on Marino against Inter. And yeah, if it happened the other end, 100%, you'd have to say it's a penalty. I agree with everything you say. It's and even because Saka didn't take the first one, and we know why he didn't take the first one, but again, you just think, wait, you tiny little bit of doubt in the back of your mind. And yeah, not a great penalty, but it went in, which is the main thing. And the little panic that we had thinking of Newcastle away all those years ago when we were 4-0 down and drew 4-all, that kind of withered away. I was at that game actually, the Newcastle away game, the 4-all. It was unbelievable, but that's for another pod. And yeah, so yeah, 5-2, and we head into half time, and we breathe because it was such a crazy half of football.
No, indeed. And what's that? That was so 7 goals in one half, and I think that's only the 4th time in Premier League history that's happened. And I even saw some crazy stat on Match of the Day last night, which I can't remember what it was, but about that. But it's sort of like a lot of the time when these things happen, you don't get goals in the second half, and it's very rare when you get these massive top loaded games, 7 goals in one half, 6, 8, whatever you want to do it. The second half is always a bit doesn't live up to it. And look, to be honest, there wasn't really anything of note in the second half. It felt like neither team wanted to concede, and even West Ham, West Ham went a bit defensive. I think they took off an attacking player and put on a midfielder, a more defensive player. I think Lopetegui wanted to stop any embarrassment, because in going for it, they could have let in more goals. Arsenal just wanted to control. The game was won. They didn't care. They did. Arteta says we try and push, but you do it with, to steal a phrase. And to use it in a different analogy, is that they did it with the handbrake on. I don't think they really went for it because they didn't need to. I think the big things for the second half for Arsenal were the substitutions. A couple in terms of Kivior came on for Gabriel at half time. Arteta said it was related to the previous injury that he had in Lisbon, and obviously he did great to be part of that. But with the result and with the niggle that he's feeling, we decided to take him off. And there we go. That's a low risk decision. Use your squad. Kivior came on and did fine. And then Zinchenko came on for Calafiori in the 56th. And again, Arteta said, well, he's been with little niggles in the last few weeks. Obviously, he had a very serious knee injury and he's doing really well, but you have to manage his minutes. And today we have to do the same. So again, get him off, put Zinchenko on. Game state, Zinchenko did fine. So let's just hope that they're precautionary. Let's hope that we're just managing him. You can see a bit like Ben White, Calafiori is not playing with complete freedom. A bit like Timber as well in the past, not playing with complete freedom. So doing well, but maybe he's a 50, 60-minute player at the moment, and that's fine. That's why we use our squad. And then we had Jesus come on for Odegaard, Sterling for Saka, Waneri for Trossard. Close out the game, give those guys a rest, and that's all good. And apart from a couple of attempts by Jesus and Sterling, and there was that Ings thing at the end, nothing really to talk about in terms of that second half and game over. And then that's so. How many goals is that in the 3 games did we get?
A lovely 13 goal haul in 3 games. It's 10 of them away from home as well. We were, there was a period in the last few weeks where we were struggling to put the ball in the back of the net. So to obviously bring Odegaard back into a team, surprise, all of a sudden you're just a goal feast of a team. So and they've scored 5+ goals in 5 away games in all competitions in 2024, and that's a joint record by an English top flight team in a single calendar year, going back to 1892 with Sunderland and Manchester City in 1937. You could say we were a bit relentless, and I wanted to say a little quick fair play and well done to Kivior. I thought Kivior did fairly well when he came on. I know obviously we're 5-2 up, but I thought he was solid enough. He had a few nice blocks and he did really well. That Ings chance at the end, the one that he flashed across the box, he probably should have scored, but Kivior was sliding in to try and block it, but when he realised it was going past, if you look back at it again, he actually lifts up one of his legs to let it go past him, because if he had kept his leg down, it was 100% an OG. And it was just a little thing. He read the situation for what it was, saw that the ball was going wide, and just kind of lifted his leg up like a dog about to go toilet. But I just thought fair play to him. But yeah, the second half was a bit of a non-event, and they always are, as we said, after these kind of weird first halves.
Yeah, I think if you watch it, we were just in control. There was not a lot happening. And that's fine. We kill the game, and in a way, it's with that sort of second half, it's not too strenuous on the players. They've got a big game coming up midweek against Man United. A bit of a training session, so it was fine. I don't think there was anything really too much to do with. What I found interesting in terms of with Gabriel coming off and watching Saliba and Kivior, that with Saliba and Gabriel, I noticed that when Gabriel is not playing and it's Saliba and another, I don't think he doesn't step up, but I don't think he, I'm going to say the word steps up in terms of, right, I'm going to own the back four. I'm going to take charge of the back four and manage the back four. I feel he sort of just retreats a little bit, or he I don't think he thinks of the back four as a whole. He's still thinking about his game. So he individually is still very good. And maybe it's to do with like he had Kivior on his left and he had Zinchenko on his left, and maybe it's different. But I feel when Gabriel is there without Saliba, Gabriel sort of takes right. I'm going to make sure that my buddy isn't noticed. I'm going to make sure that and we're not going to let our standards drop and anything like that. And I'm not saying that's what Saliba does, but I notice one sort of does better without the other than the other one does, and it was sort of a bit noticeable. I found yesterday that sort of thing. Whereas if Kivior was to come in with Gabriel, I think the drop off is less, shall we say? So just a small thing, but and maybe because of experience, maybe just that the type of characters that they are, that I think it's just something to note or look at in the future, just to see how the difference between the two, how they play when their mate isn't there. I just thought it was something worth noting and noting for future. So again, won the game 5-3. All very nice, and we had some really good performances. So let's move on to like our player ratings, and like we did last week, we'll take it in turns to give a view on how we felt the players did. So I'll kick off. So Ray in goal, I gave him out of 10, a 7. To be honest, he didn't really have a great deal to do. I don't think he could do anything with both goals. What I did like was his passing. Decent passing and providing an option for the back three. So for me, he was a 7. What about you, Ian?
I went 7.5. I fully agree about his passing. For our first penalty, he hit a lovely long ball up to Havertz, who nodded it down to Saka, who went in and got fouled. 7.5, did nothing wrong. Couldn't really do a huge amount about the goals, and 7.5 for me.
Okay, Timber. What did you give for Timber?
Timber, I went with an 8. I was keeping notes in the game, and I just wrote down saying that you'd never know he had an ACL injury last season. Like he's so good. He had a great assist for the first goal with the little bump, shall we say. He's very, very tough, but he's also very direct in his running, and he links up so well with Saka guard, as I call them now, because they're basically one player to me now. But he was really good, really solid. What did you give him?
Me was an 8.5. So Saliba. 7.5. Solid game. Marshaled the defence well, especially when Kivior and Zini were there. But as I said, I just mentioned that I noticed that he doesn't stand out as much when without his big buddy there. But no dramas, normal Saliba performance, 7.5.
Yeah, I gave him an 8, maybe even a little bit generous. Like, I thought he made one mistake for that Ings chance I just spoke about, where Kivior did well. He kind of made a big mistake cutting that ball out. The ball was just going straight through to David Raya. So maybe I'll downgrade him to a 7.5. But no, I'll leave him at 8. I'll leave him at 8.
That's all good. Okay, so Gabriel, Big G, King of Brazil. What did you give him?
I gave him an 8. He's just a nuisance at corners. He's an attacking threat, but first and foremost, he's just so, as we were talking about earlier, a few minutes ago, he's so front-footed. He takes control of everything, and he was brilliant again, like an absolute solid 8.
Yeah, I gave him an 8.5 because of the goal. And getting the assist for the penalty, if you can call it that. and he's a menace, and his goal scoring is invaluable. Scores against Tottenham, scores against City, scores against West Ham. Big goals in big games. It's such a good thing to have that source of goals from your centre back. It's massively invaluable. Okay, so for me, next up, Calafiori. For me, I gave him a 6.5. As I said, I think he's playing through a bit of injury. I think it was a bit at fault for the offside goal and the actual first goal. So just in terms of what I expect and what I like to see, I think I just down to a 6.5. What did you give him?
Yeah, I gave him a 7. Again, when I was taking down notes, I wrote down he was a bit too casual at times, and especially for that goal, because he tried to lay it off, but he didn't put half enough pace on it. But he's so good going the other way that's why I gave him a 7.
Okay. Next up, Declan returning to his old stomping ground. What did you give Rice?
I gave him an 8. I think he was very solid in the face of all the West Ham hostility, and he was just his usual self. It was never a free kick for their goal, their second goal. And it just made sure that we didn't miss Thomas Partey. So yeah, what did you give him?
I gave him an 8. And what was noticeable was when Zinchenko came on, and we'll come on to Zinchenko in a bit. Declan Rice went very Saka. It was covering the left hand, went to do the bit where I'm going to cover the left hand side because Zinchenko's never there, and so it seemed to be very Saka 2022-23 sort of role where he would be just filling in at the left back spot when Zinchenko does his roaming. So, but yeah, good day for Rice. Return home, another 3 points. He seems to like going back to that stadium.
Yeah.
So next up, Jorginho, I gave an 8, very controlled at the base of the midfield, a bit like Rice together, made sure we didn't miss Partey, who's been one of our best midfielders this season. So yeah, nothing. He was just one of these ones that, the metronome at the back, the quarterback at the back, just very controlled, very calmed. Dictates the play in a different way to Odegaard, and yeah, you come in and these are the sort of perfect games, Forest and this one, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with Man United. But these are perfect games for him to come in. So I gave him an 8.
Yeah, I gave him an 8 as well, and basically echo everything you say. He just he keeps us ticking over, and the metronome is a perfect word for him. That's what he is. It's a very solid 8.
Okay, so Odegaard next up, main man. What did you give Odegaard?
Our main man, I gave him an 8. Could have easily been an 8.5, but I gave him an 8. He was his usual self. The flick over for Saka was just filthy. He's just too good, and I love him. I'm so proud and happy that he's an Arsenal player. And like Jorginho, he makes us tick. He makes us play. He does everything.
Very good. I gave him 8.5 because of the goal. And the pre-assist for the second one, and just Odegaard is superb. Okay, next up, Saka. It's fallen on me to do this one. Okay, what a shame.
How did that happen? I wonder.
I have no idea. Saka, I gave a 9. 1 goal, 3 assists. I think in FPL, if you one foul for penalty, it counts as an assist. I don't know, but yeah, I'm giving him a 9. Just the stats keep coming. Goals and assists. He's so that's 10 assists now in 13 Premier League games. So he's halfway to getting the record in half the time. The 20 assist record by Henry and by Kevin De Bruyne. With that, Henry scored 15 goals, so yeah, he needs to back up his ideas in terms of scoring goals as well. But he's now got 10 assists in 13 games, which is I think the 4th fastest in Premier League history, behind Fabregas and Harry Kane and Mesut Ozil, to go from beginning of the season to 10 assists in record time. He's also the first player to score an assist in 3 consecutive Arsenal appearances, again since Cesc Fabregas in 2007. So exalted company. We all loved Fabregas, but when he was back playing with us, before he went to the dark side, we saw what an influence Cesc Fabregas was on the team, and Bukayo Saka's doing exactly the same thing, and long may it continue. He seems to be staying, keeping his feet on the ground, and let's enjoy it. So, what did you give Ian?
Yeah, I gave him an 8.5, but could easily have been a 9. He's so good. We're so like Odegaard. We're so lucky to have him. And last night we saw a little bit of bite from him as well. When there was a flashpoint late in the first half, which we'll talk about later on. But the stats you've just called out, we're talking about Mesut Ozil here. We're talking about Cesc Fabregas, Harry Kane's obviously a great player, but that stuck in my throat a little bit saying that. But he's you run out of superlatives for Saka. Yeah, 8.5. I actually feel bad. I only gave him 8.5 now.
I can't believe it. Unbelievable. You're doing him a disservice. Okay, so next up, Trossard. What did you do for Trossard?
Trossard, I gave him a 7.5. Again, probably did him out of a half a point there, but he's Mr. Right place, right time. He knows where to put himself, and he showed us that against Villa earlier on in the season. And he had a lovely first time assist for a goal earlier on. He just does that Trossard thing where he plays so well you can't drop him until he plays poorly, and then you have Martinelli waiting in the wings. But and the ball for Havertz as well over the top was sensational. So 7.5.
7.5. That seems to be a bit low. I think
I know.
you're not. I don't think you're doing this team justice for this week. I gave him a great 8.5 because he got the goal and he got an assist, so that's got to get you up into the eights.
Yeah, maybe.
At least. But no, maybe you're a hard man. Maybe you want more. So no, it's not enough. But but there we go. So yeah, no, 8.5.
We can't all be living off tap-ins.
Hey, you got to be there. You got to be there. If you're not there, you don't score the goals. Rebounds and tap-ins, the runs. So good on it. And then next up, Havertz. I gave him an 8. Another Havertz performance, Havertz type performance. It was a nuisance all evening. He took the goal well. He was a presence up front. Didn't give the West Ham defence much rest. So yeah, I gave him an 8. Yeah. And you?
There's a pattern emerging here, Tabs. I gave him a 7.5. See, I'm just leaving room for we're gonna have the ultimate game soon where they all get 9s, 9.5. I'm just I'm trying to bring that into play. But yeah, I gave him 7.5. He was just a nuisance all game, and it was a very Havertz performance. Again, lucky to have him, and I'm delighted that he's still proving all the early doubters wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Kivior did fine. For me, I gave him a 7. I think his passing could be better, but we didn't let any goals. Came in, no problem. And this is where your generosity went in a different direction.
Funny that I pick a defensive substitute. I went 7.5, and it was purely down to I mentioned it earlier on about the him not scoring an OG that time. I urge people to go back and look at it. He did really well to just kind of get out of the way. So he was solid. He had a good block against Ings earlier on. He didn't have a huge amount to do, but I thought he was solid enough. So I gave him 7.5.
Very good. And look, I'm gonna rattle through the next couple. So Zinchenko, I gave him a 7. Did fine. He was no less defensively secure than Calafiori. For me, it was a very 2022-23 performance because he came in at left back, but he was not playing left back. He was there even within the first few minutes. I was saying to my son, what's he doing going down the right wing? Or whatever, or inside right. Yeah, it was a very Zinchenko 2022-23 performance. And that's why Rice had to do the Xhaka role. So we were just sort of doing a bit of a going down memory lane on that one. But he was fine. And you gave him 6.5. And then the next 3, Jesus, Sterling, Waneri, we all gave him 6.5s. Weren't on for a huge amount of time. I think Waneri was on to cover for Sterling, who doesn't do the defensive duties, and Sterling and Jesus, a few flashes, but nothing great. So yeah, just what you expect. And I think the most important thing is that they're giving other players rest, giving Odegaard some rest, giving Saka some rest. So I think that's fine. So let's come to the player of the match and the plonker of the match. So who was your player of the match?
My player of the match
was it Kivior?
It was Jakub Kivior for not scoring an OG. Believe it or not. No, do you know what? Actually, I'm going to let you I'm going to let you pick your player of the match first because I know we all love this guy, but you go first for your player of the match.
Okay, for me, no brainer. Saka. 1 goal, 2-3 assists, a bit of aggro, sticking up for his teammates. Yeah. but there's only one option. So Saka. It is weird. You feel, oh, we're giving it to him again. Oh, we're giving it to him again. Yeah, because he's that good. So I'm not shy in giving it to him again. So Saka, my player
Yeah.
of the match.
Yeah, I'm okay with him getting it every week for the rest of the season. Now, to be fair, mine was Saka as well, but just for a little bit to say something a little bit different, I'm just going to give some love to Timber. It could have been Odegaard the second, but I thought Yuri and Timber was absolutely fantastic, and he was the one that was picked out for the interview afterwards, which is always a sign of how well somebody plays. They did the same for Saka, and yeah, so I'll go with Yuri and Timber for my player of the match.
Okay, and then we come to the little fun, jokey part. Plonker of the match. Who was your plonker of the match?
My plonker of the match was Emerson for kicking the aforementioned Urian Timber while he was on the ground yesterday. Now, in one way, we got to see the lovely little bit of bite from Saka afterwards, him running up and kind of bodying him. But Emerson, like, it's one of the lowest things you can do. And I know he was trying, the ball was there and he was kicking the ball, but we all know what players do or are doing when that's going on. It's just a bit nasty. And yeah, Emerson for me, plonker the match.
Okay. For me, I was going to go with Redknapp because of his views on the penalty, but my plonker of the match actually was a clear winner afterwards. Is Lopetegui. What is this guy on? What on earth was he talking about? Because in the post-match interview, he was blaming the ref for the for what had happened. He was like saying he missed things and all the rest of it. So his team were just sort of like so behind the eight ball, so that the goals were coming. It was inevitable. They played. They were very poor. He didn't set them up right. Their team had no bite. Their heads were down. They got a couple of okay, good goals, but yeah. So I for me, Lopetegui was on there. So yeah, and another thing was that he in the second half when maybe he could have gone for it and bit of chaos theory, but instead he went defensive to minimise the embarrassment. So for me, Lopetegui was my plonk of the match, and also he didn't mention. Funny enough, he mentioned all the stuff where he didn't mention the Rice free kick, which wasn't a free kick either. So just didn't like that. But I do want to give an honourable mention to anyone who's debating Bowen versus Saka. Yeah, okay, they can go and do one. And then there was some West Ham fan on Blue Sky saying if he was an Arsenal fan, he'd be disappointed that his team resorted to cheating, diving, play acting, feigning injury, and relying on the ref to give them results. My God, yeah! Don't you just love the crazy folk on social media? No comment, no further
Yeah.
comment needed.
Yeah, and I mean for Lopetegui as well, to say that you have to have brass balls to come out when your team has been outplayed the way they were and start blaming the referee, and you look for the West Ham fans on social media. Yeah, the less said, the better.
Absolutely. Okay, so look, but it's 3 points, game over. Nice for the stats, nice for the momentum. But the games are coming thick and fast, and we've got a massive game coming up midweek. Unfortunately, our dear friend Eric Ten Hag will not be at the Emirates, and we were so hoping that he would be just hanging on just enough to play them, but it's not the case, and we're playing a new manager, Amarin. He's come over from Sporting. So Ian, in terms of the game, what are you looking forward to and not looking forward to about the game?
I'm looking forward to seeing how we hopefully dismantle, their back three that they're going to be playing with. I think we do well against back threes, and now look, new manager bounce and all that. United had a really good win today, albeit at home to Everton, but 4 goals is 4 goals. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we set up against them. I think Martinelli may come back in, but we'll talk about the lineup in a little bit. What I'm not looking forward to is not being there, because I'm not going to make it because it's midweek. It's the first first home league game that I'm missing. At the end of the year, of course, you don't have much annual leave left, so I'm not going to make it over, and I'm very annoyed with the schedulers for putting this game of all games midweek. So that's what I'm not looking forward to, is watching it from home.
Well, then I'm not looking forward to seeing you. Then that's not. I'm not looking forward to. It would have been nice to meet up
Yeah.
and have a beer. Yeah. Joking aside, Rashford always seems to do okay against us. He scored a couple of goals today, so not looking forward to seeing what he might do. Depends what sort of performance he puts in because he can be very lackadaisical. But then, like last year, can get a goal from nothing, or the last couple of years. So he's always seems to be a bit of a threat for us in terms of and I'm not looking forward to the fact that Eric's not there. That's such a shame.
The
That's very annoying. That's so annoying. We would have destroyed them. But and what I'm looking forward to, it's always a good atmosphere at the ground. So being at the Emirates, it should be a good night under the lights. Midweek, I think the crowd will be up for it. People have had a few drinks. I think it's going to be a tremendous atmosphere. And let's see if we can get another five goals under our belt. So
That'd be nice.
it would indeed. So in terms of we saw what happened at West Ham against West Ham in terms of lineup and who came off. So what are you thinking, squad wise or starting 11 wise? Who do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Do you expect Martinelli to come back for Trossard? But Trossard is it? We think Trossard's doing the Trossard thing. He does really well until he starts playing poorly. So do we try and balance it out? Do we release Martinelli onto whichever Muppet is playing right back or right wing back. So what are your thoughts on the lineup?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Martinelli come back in because of how they're going to set up. Like we will, if they are going to have a wing back bombing up the right hand side, Martinelli is very good from a defensive perspective. He might be able to plug some gaps back there and also exploit any gaps left behind their right wing back. If Partey's fit, I think he'll start. Like obviously a lot depends on fitness. Hopefully, even the likes of Gabriel, hopefully he's able to play. But it looks like it was precautionary though, him coming off. So I think we'll probably see the same back five. Maybe Partey in instead of Jorginho, and maybe Martinelli for Trossard. But again, because Trossard did so well, it's hard to drop him. So I think they'd be the only few changes, if any, for me.
No, I agree. So look, we are on fire at the moment. We need another statement win, keep the momentum going. We should win against. They are a very average side, and we'll look at their stats in a second. They are, and especially we're at home. Now we beat practically an Amorim side 5-1 in Lisbon last week. He'd only left a week ago or whatever. It was his formation, his players, and stuff like that. So now, and Man United, in terms of new manager bounce, well, their first game was that they drew against Ipswich. They only just beat. I think it was a law firm, Bodo Glint, the other midweek, and so I think they're still getting up to speed in terms of what the new manager wants. The Everton game today, yes, it was 4-0, but I saw somewhere that their XG was like 0.73 overall, and they got 4 goals.
Really? No, I didn't see.
0.63 XG in open play and 0.1 in set play. So they maximised their return on today's game. So and like West Ham, we said that they are inconsistent. I think their recent form. They lost to West Ham when Eric got sacked, and then they drew with Chelsea, beat Leicester City, drew with Ipswich, and then beat Everton. So they haven't lost since October, but then again, they've not been playing anyone that great. They are sitting 9th in the league, with 19 points. There's a clutch of teams: Villa, Newcastle, Fulham, Manchester. Brentford are above them, Tottenham are above them. So 19 points. Yeah, they're home form. They've won 4, drew 1, lost 2, but away from home they've played 6 and only won once away, drew 3 and lost 2. And but their goal difference is weird. Their goal difference is plus 1 from that, so they must have had a big win in there. I'm not too sure. So look, I've got some stats down here. It said like they score 1.31 goals per match, and it says average points per game 1.46. Average. So they are an average team. Goals conceded, they only concede 1 per match, which is quite good. But I'd suggest also that's a lot down to the opposition that they're playing. So So yeah, and then also they're without Mainu, who's played 8 of their games this season, and Martinez, who played 11 due to suspension. They picked up the yellow cards today, so they're going to be out. And I think maybe Evans, we know about Lenny Yoro, and maybe Lindelof. So they may be struggling in defence. So, okay, Lenny Yoro hasn't played at all, but having no Lindelof, having no Evans, having no Martinez. So I don't know who they're relying on, yeah, so Delit is a Delit, the centre back, and maybe Maguire, but yeah, shouldn't be too much of a threat. So what are you expecting from the game? What are you expecting from Arsenal in this game?
I think we'll do, especially at home, we'll do what Arsenal do and control the game very early, pass the ball around, and just pick moments to get Odegaard and Saka into play, and just over the course of 90 minutes, I think we're a much better side. We'll just break them down, and they may score. They may score, especially with Rashford, and Xerxes scored 2 today as well. But now he hadn't scored since the first day of the season. But Rashford has seemed to hit a bit of form. We may concede, but I think we'll have enough to see them, to dispatch of them relatively easily. The famous last words, of course. But yeah, I think we're going to play very well against them and get the desired result.
And what result is that? What's your prediction for the game, score-wise?
I am going to go with a very bold 4-1.
4-1. Wow. Okay, that's good.
Kivior hat-trick.
Kivior hat-trick, the main man, Kivior. Well, he might be playing. He might be playing with Big G, Gabriel potentially out injured, or he may come on. So,
yeah.
and look, last season after Christmas, he was a big part of that team that went on that massive run. So he can play. And actually yesterday, God, it seems to be the Kivior show. I think that's only the second time he's actually played in his ideal position, left centre back. Most of the times, it'd be left back or right centre back or even right back. So maybe look, they have some threat. Man United, Garnacho if he plays, Rashford's there. Højlund can put himself about. Xerxes, I don't think he's. I don't rate him. Don't rate him at all. Fernandes can pick out a pass, but if they look at their potential midfield, again, I'm not watching them closely. But even if he played Eriksen, I think Eriksen started Amarin's first game. But the likes of Eriksen, the likes of Casemiro, the likes of Maguire in defence, and something like that. There shouldn't be anything there to bother us. Yes, every team can have its day, but we should be too much for them. Our passing and movement will be too much for them. We showed what we can do against an Amarin team. We'll go again. I like your prediction. I want a clean sheet. I'm going 3-0. I'm going 3-0. 2-0 at half time. Then control it, another goal, kill them off, bye Man United, and hope your trains are all cancelled.
I love it.
Yes, because it's an 8:15 kickoff, so it's 8:15 because it's the Amazon Prime week of games. So it's a later kickoff, and so there'll be there might be a few Man United fans stuck at Euston or King's Cross or wherever it is.
All their fans live in London anyway. So
actually, what am I talking about? The trains to Surrey will be fine. They'll be back in Guildford before midnight. There we go. Okay, so on that note, on the 4-1, 3-0 smash 'em predictions. Just leaves me to say thank you, Ian, again for your time today. Just remind people where they can find you and what you do.
No problem, Tabs. Again, pleasure to be here, and you can find me at all the 1,500 different social media platforms at Art Cannon Picks.
Okay, so sending your cannons to Ian wherever you are in the world, and you'll get a shout out on all the platforms. So thank you for that. As for the Grove, yes, you can follow us on Threads and Blue Sky, mainly at the Grove AFC. And then our next show will be post Man United with a review of that stunning victory, and we're then going to preview the Arsenal derby when we play Fulham next Sunday. So looking forward to that. So Ian, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Tabs.
Okay, and if you made it this far, very well done. And until the next time, come on, you Gunners.